The salt spray stung Elias's eyes, a cruel reminder of the ocean's wrath. One minute he was clinging to a splintered mast, praying for rescue. The next he was sprawled on black sand, the remnants of his ship swallowed by the churning sea. He coughed, seawater and despair, warring in his lungs. He was alive, but surrounded by death. He pushed himself up, the gritty sand scraping against his raw skin. The beach was littered with wreckage. Not just from his ship, the Sea Serpent, but from countless others. But it wasn't the shipwrecks that chilled him to the bone, it was the battlefield beyond. As Elias stumbled further inland, the black sand gave way to a desolate expanse of cracked earth, scarred by trenches and craters. Twisted metal structures, once grand fortifications, pierced the sky like skeletal fingers. Rust-colored dust coated everything, clinging to the air with a metallic tang that tasted of blood and decay. The silence was deafening, broken only by the mournful cry of unseen birds. This wasn't just a battlefield, it was a tomb. He soon discovered that this place wasn't entirely deserted. He wasn't even the last of his kind. He saw them from a distance at first. Figures clad in tattered rags and scavenged armor, their faces gaunt and haunted. They moved with a predatory grace, their eyes gleaming with a desperate hunger. They were survivors, yes, but survivors of a different kind. They were remnants of the ancient armies that had clashed on this cursed ground, trapped here by the same malevolent force that had dragged his ship to its doom. It wasn't long before they noticed him. 3 of them, lean and wiry, emerged from the wreckage of a fallen fortress. They carried crude weapons, rusted swords, sharpened pieces of metal, and even bones fashioned into spears. Their eyes, hollow and devoid of warmth, fixed on him with an unsettling intensity. He tried to speak, to plead for help, but his voice was lost in the wind. They attacked without warning. Elias, a simple merchant sailor, was no match for their savage ferocity. He dodged and weaved, relying on instinct and desperation to avoid their blows. He barely managed to sidestep, the blade tearing through his sleeve. He cried out, the pain searing his arm. Just when he thought he was finished, a figure emerged from the shadows. She was tall and lithe, her face hidden behind a scavenged helmet. She wielded a glowing blade, its energy crackling in the air. With a swift movement, she disarmed one of the remnants and sent him sprawling to the ground. The other 2 hesitated, fear flickering in their eyes. She snarled, a guttural sound that sent them scrambling back into the wreckage. "Get up," she commanded, her voice rough but strangely comforting. "This place is no place to die." Her name was Anya. She was one of the few who still retained a semblance of humanity in this forsaken place. She explained that this was the Shattered Coast, a battlefield cursed by an ancient conflict between powerful mages. The curse trapped souls, both living and dead, binding them to the land. Time flowed differently here, sometimes faster, sometimes slower, always unpredictable. He learned that the remnants had been soldiers, once proud warriors who now existed in a state of perpetual war, driven by hunger and a desperate desire to escape. He finds out the mages who cursed the land did so to protect a great relic, a weapon of immense power that could shape reality. The curse made it impossible to leave the land, and so the people were stuck in a cycle of destruction. Anya took Elias to her shelter, a hidden cave nestled within the ruins of a colossal statue. She shared what little food and water she had, her eyes filled with a weary resolve. She told him of her past, of her life before the curse. She was a warrior, a protector of her people. Elias felt a surge of gratitude and a burgeoning sense of hope. He wasn't alone. He had found someone who understood the horrors of this place, someone who was willing to fight for survival. He asked her why she helped him. She said she saw something in him, a spark of resilience, a refusal to succumb to despair. "This curse takes everything," she said. "It takes your hope, your memory, your very soul. But it hasn't taken yours yet, and I won't let it." Over the next few weeks, Anya taught Elias how to survive in the Shattered Coast. He learned to wield a rusty sword, to track the movements of the remnants, to read the shifting sands for signs of danger. He learned to rely on his instincts, to trust his gut, to never give up. He also learned about the history of the Shattered Coast, the legends of the mages, and the truth behind the curse. Anya revealed that there was a way to break the curse, a way to escape the shattered coast. The key was the relic the mages were trying to protect, a powerful artifact known as the Heart of Ethelgard. The journey to the heart was fraught with peril. They faced hordes of remnants, monstrous creatures warped by the curse, and treacherous traps laid by the ancient mages. Anya's glowing blade proved to be an effective weapon, cutting through the darkness and incinerating their enemies. Elias, though still a novice, fought with a newfound courage, protecting Anya and learning from her every move. SHIPWRECKED. Along their journey, they encounter others, not the remnants who are forever locked into a cycle of violence, but a hidden enclave of survivors. These survivors are led by an old scholar named Silas, who is dedicated to finding a way to break the curse. At first, they are suspicious of Elias, but Anya vouches for him. Silas is skeptical about the stories of the Heart of Ethelgard. He believes that the relics were just tools. They are no different from weapons or food. Silas believes the true power lay within the people. This causes tension in the group, Elias and Anya being the ones who believe that the Heart of Ethelgard is the only way to break the curse. The enclave is attacked, and Elias and Anya must fight alongside the survivors to defend their home. The battle is fierce, and many lives are lost. But in the end, they manage to repel the attack. The betrayal shakes the group, and Silas reveals his theory that the curse is tied to the land itself, a psychic residue left behind by the conflict. He believes that the only way to truly break the curse is to leave the shattered coast and find a new home, far away from the cursed land Anya refuses. This is the only home she's known for so long. Elias is stuck in the middle, but eventually comes to agree with Anya. He couldn't leave, not until the curse was broken. They discover a hidden passage that leads to the heart of the shattered coast. This passage is heavily guarded by the most powerful remnants, and they must use all of their skills and courage to overcome them. During their journey through the passage, Silas leaves the group with the rest of the survivors to try and escape the coast, hopefully leaving the curse behind. As they ventured deeper into the heart of the battlefield, they found themselves in a colossal chamber, the air thick with ancient magic. It pulsed with a soft, ethereal light, its surface shimmering with arcane symbols. But guarding the heart was a formidable foe, a towering figure clad in ancient armor, his face obscured by a skull-like mask. He was the guardian of the heart, a powerful warrior cursed to protect the relic for eternity. The guardian was once the leader of the warriors. He was betrayed by the mages. When the mages placed the curse on the land, they also cursed him to be the guardian, forever unable to die and free his soul. The guardian attacked with blinding speed, his ancient blade singing through the air. Anya met his blows with her glowing blade, the two weapons clashing in a shower of sparks. Elias, though outmatched, fought bravely, distracting the guardian and creating openings for Anya. During the battle, Anya's glowing blade is shattered by the guardian's powerful strikes. With her weapon gone, Anya is forced to rely on her wits and her martial skills to survive. Elias, seeing Anya in danger, leaps in front of her and takes a blow meant for her. But it gave Anya the opportunity to strike. With a burst of adrenaline, Anya disarms the guardian and plunges her shattered blade into his chest. The guardian cries out in anguish, his body dissolving into dust, and from the dust the ancient sword materializes. Anya picks it up and looks at Elias with a smile. This was meant to be his. The death of the guardian triggered a surge of energy that swept through the chamber. The heart of Ethelgard pulsed brighter, its light cleansing the darkness and dispelling the curse. Anya knew what she had to do. "Elias," she said, her voice filled with emotion. "You have to take the heart. You have to be the vessel." Elias hesitated. He was just a simple sailor, not a hero, but he looked into Anya's eyes and saw her unwavering faith in him. He knew he couldn't refuse. He approached the pedestal and reached out his hand. As his fingers brushed against the surface of the heart, a surge of power coursed through his body. He felt his mind expanding, his senses heightened. He could see the flow of magic, the energy that permeated the world. And he knew what he had to do. He closed his eyes and focused his will, channeling the power of the heart. He reached out to the curse, not to fight it, but to understand it. He felt the pain, the anger, the despair that had fueled it for centuries, and he offered it forgiveness. The curse recoiled, weakened by his compassion. He saw the faces of the mages, their hearts filled with regret for the destruction they had caused. They reached out to him, their spectral forms shimmering with remorse. "Release us," they pleaded. ... Elias nodded and unleashed the full power of the heart. A wave of light erupted from his body, engulfing the chamber and washing over the shattered coast. The curse shattered, its tendrils unraveling and dissolving into nothingness. The land trembled, the ruins crumbled, and the sky cleared for the first time in centuries. When the light subsided, Elias opened his eyes. He was no longer a simple sailor. He was something more. He was a beacon of hope, a symbol of redemption. A shipwreck. The shattered coast was transformed. The air was clean and fresh, filled with the songs of birds and the laughter of children. The remnants were gone, their souls finally freed. The enclave of survivors emerged from their hiding place, their faces filled with joy and relief. They cheered for Elias, their savior, their hope. Anya approached him, her eyes shining with pride. "You did it," she said, her voice choked with emotion. "You saved us all." Elias smiled, his heart filled with gratitude. He looked out at the transformed, shattered coast, a land reborn from the ashes of despair. He had a responsibility to protect this new world, to ensure that the curse would never return. Silas and the other survivors returned soon after, amazed at the changes that have taken place. Silas, now a true believer in the heart of Athelgard, apologizes to Elias and Anya. He states that the heart of Athelgard saved them and the world. Together, Elias, Anya, Silas, and the rest of the survivors helped to rebuild the shattered coast and create a new society, one built on peace, compassion, and hope.